very annoying. I just was halfway into the video and it looked like I hadn't actually begun recording. It's like, oh god, I'm going to have to start again. I wanted in today's video to discuss Christine McGuinness's recent documentary, Unmasking My Autism, on BBC iPlayer. This is going to be over several videos because I have a lot to say about it. And this Christine McGuinness's Unmasking My Autism was specifically looking at girls and women and autism, and that was the focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the extensive notes I made and pass some comments on them again, properly analyse it in a little bit more depth maybe in another video or another time. So for those of you who don't know, Christine McGuinness is she's a celebrity basically, from Liverpool. She's about my age, or maybe about a year younger than me, so in her sort of early to mid 30s. For 15 years, she was married to Paddy McGuinness, who's also a TV personality, but they recently split up. She's got several children, might be 3 children, 3, 4, it's about 3, can't remember how many she has, 3, 4, something like that, children who are all autistic, and last year she got diagnosed by, I think it's Simon Van Cohen, when she did a documentary on autism. I think it's called My Family and Autism or something. And she's a model and was in loads of beauty pageants and other things. Anyway, so I'm just going to go through the notes I made. So first of all, she meets Dr. Francesca Happe, who's a professor of cognitive neuroscience from London, King's College London. And she goes to meet Dr. Francesca Happe to discuss so-called female autism. I put female autism in air quotes because I think it's a problematic term. I will be coming back to it. I personally am not entirely sure there is such a thing. I don't think there's a separate species called female autism. I think autism is autism, regardless. I think that's a bit too binary, particularly as we're moving away from that whole idea now of fixed boxes. But anyway, I think what they should have, instead of calling it female autism, maybe they should just talk about autistic women without labelling the autism as anything different. Because obviously obviously we do live through the prism of gender to some extent, we can't ignore that. But yeah, anyway. She looks at how interests tend to be different between autistic boys and autistic girls, autistic men and autistic women. And I agree. I think that on average, speaking very crudely, there are likely to be slightly different interests between autistic boys and girls, men and women, just as you would find in the general population. On average, interests are a bit different in men and women, boys and girls, because of the way we're socialised, we're exposed to different influences. So these very broad brush kind of averages here. Obviously there's a great deal of variation, and not everyone will conform to what society says, or what society's expectations, but it surely follows, doesn't it, that autistic boys and girls are also going to be exposed to those same influences, and that might, to some extent, have an impact on what they end up being interested in. So Happe mentions, for example, an autistic boy, 15-year-old boy, might be really obsessed with electricity pylons, and he might say, oh, let me show you my 100 photos of electricity pylons. Whereas if you ask a 15-year-old girl what she's interested in, and she says Kate Winslet or this breed of horse or this band, and the clinician won't think anything of it, says Happe. But if they ask more questions, the clinician would then realise that actually she just collects facts about Kate Winslet. She doesn't want to watch the movies or just that one breed or she's just interested in that one breed of pony, and every other pony she's not interested in. And then Christine mentions how as a teenager she was obsessed with Dirty Dancing, and the only film she ever watched was Dirty Dancing, and she'd watched it over and over and over on repeat, highlighting that kind of obsessional aspect. Now, I thought it was really interesting when Happe mentioned Kate Winslet, because that was me. For any of you who've watched my videos, you will know how absolutely obsessed I was with the actress Kate Winslet when I was a teenager, from about the age of 11 to 21, 22. It started to kind of peter out in my early 20s. It was extreme. I was absolutely obsessed. I collected every single detail of Kate Winslet's life. I learnt about her siblings. I learnt every detail about her grandparents. I ordered her old school prospectus from her primary school. I read it from cover to cover. I ordered her old prospectus from the theatre school she went to in Maidenhead, Redruth's theatre school. I got that prospectus. It actually had a picture of Kate Winslet in it as well, which was amazing. I got that for my birthday because I wanted it so much. My dad even phoned the school up to ask for a prospectus. I was up at Double H Smith, as soon as the shop opened, to check all the celebrity magazines to make sure I hadn't missed a Kate Winslet picture. At lunchtime at school, I would go on a computer secretively, because you weren't really supposed to go on a computers for hobbies and stuff. But when a teacher wasn't looking in the library, I would print off loads and loads of Kate Winslet stuff. That was back in the early days of the internet, where there weren't so many sites as there are now. But yeah, I printed loads and loads of stuff about Kate Winslet, or all her pictures and everything. I would look at them all the time, because I had them in my bag. I would constantly look at them under the table. I was hardcore obsessed. I watched her films, all her films. So when Hape says I might just collect facts but not watch the films, obviously that does vary from autistic to autistic. For me, I did watch the films, but I watched them obsessively over and over and over again, to the point of memorising the screenplays off by heart. I watched her Parkinson interview off by heart. I memorised the whole script. I would think about nothing else. It was my life. Everything was seen through the prism of Kate Winslet. I couldn't get interested in anything else unless it was through Kate Winslet. Other things just bored me unless I could somehow in my mind relate it to Kate Winslet. So I could get interested vicariously in other things if I felt it was connected to Kate Winslet in some way. But it had to be somehow connected in my mind to Kate Winslet in order to be interested. And obviously when Kate Winslet had a baby, that then led to a complete obsession with babies, following down the high street, taking notes in a baby spotty diary. It was intense. Anyway, so I don't know if she was thinking about me, word might have got out, or whether there are other people, so, who are like me as well. But that was quite funny when she said that, you know what I mean? That was funny. Okay, I'm going to move over to video number 2 now, just to carry on talking about this. Moving over to video number 2.